Chosen one, they are about to contact you because they finally realized they believed lies about you and now want to repair the damage they caused. Right now, someone is thinking about you. It makes them sick. Today is the day silence breaks. A message, a call, a confession arrives. They understand what must be corrected. Truth is cutting through deception they once defended. Let me break down these three swords because understanding them unlocks everything. The first sword was doubt that someone planted deliberately. Someone whispered that you weren't who you appeared to be. They reframed your kindness as manipulation. Your independence looked like coldness through their twisted lens. Your boundaries became rejection in their narrative. They twisted every strength you possess into a threat. The manipulator called your focus on this connection promiscuity. They labeled your transparent intentions as hidden motives. Your need for personal space became their evidence of dishonesty. They transformed your healthy independence into game playing in their stories. Every time you honored yourself, the manipulator turned it into proof that you couldn't be trusted. The second sword was shame that someone designed to make this person feel foolish for wanting you. They questioned the attraction as poor judgment. If your backgrounds differ, they magnified that difference into incompatibility. If your spiritual paths diverge, they made your awakening look like delusion. Whatever made this person feel vulnerable about connecting with you became weaponized into embarrassment. The narrative suggested that having feelings for you was weakness. They turned attraction into evidence of being easily fooled, rather than soul recognition. Seeds of insecurity grew into forests of self-doubt about trusting their own instincts. The very intuition that led them toward you got attacked until questioning themselves felt safer than trusting what they knew. The third sword was financial manipulation that someone calculated with precision. They convinced this person that choosing you meant blocking prosperity. They painted your presence as career destruction. The connection became synonymous with poverty in their carefully crafted story. Success and your love couldn't coexist in the false reality they built. You represented distraction from greatness when truth showed you as the catalyst for their next level. They ignored your own resources while lies claimed you wanted theirs. Stories of you draining others erased your history of pouring into people. They manufactured fear around provision, as if love and success were opposing forces, as if your presence would diminish rather than expand what this person could become. Now understand something crucial. Those swords that were aimed at one heart were really aimed at two. When someone you care about turns cold without explanation, the wounds cut deep. When someone believes lies without asking your side, self-doubt creeps in. When fear wins over the connection you both felt, scars form that take time to heal. But chosen one, while those wounds were healing, something extraordinary happened. Your ancestors went to work. Your guides started moving. Your higher self orchestrated a transformation that required this person's absence. You couldn't become who you're meant to be while trying to convince someone of your worth. You needed space to remember that your value isn't up for debate. Someone around them practiced dark spiritual work against you, not light magic, binding magic, blocking magic, the kind that's designed to keep targets contained and confused. They burned candles with your name attached to intentions that had nothing to do with your highest good. They worked roots to make you appear unstable. They performed rituals to paint you as spiritually dangerous to be around. This wasn't random jealousy rising from insecurity. This was calculated spiritual warfare that was executed with precision. The manipulator understood energy and manifestation principles. They had knowledge, but they didn't have wisdom about consequences. So they cast spells, they spread lies, and temporary power felt intoxicating to them. The manipulator positioned themselves as a trusted advisor who was speaking wisdom. They became the voice of reason, protecting someone vulnerable. Concern masked their face, while venom filled their heart. They used phrases that were designed to sound caring, while they planted poison seeds. Something feels off about this person. Bad feelings keep coming up. Information came to light that you should know. They delivered all of this with worried expressions that hid malicious intent. Timing was everything in this attack. They exploited vulnerable moments. Stress and uncertainty created fertile ground. Other challenges lowered natural defenses. The lies dropped into prepared soil when resistance ran at its lowest. They weaponized psychology to make their messages stick during emotional weakness rather than strength. They ran relentless campaigns that kept your name coming up negatively. Probing questions dug for doubts to amplify. Subtle digs disguised as observations chipped away at perception. Every story they told positioned you as the villain. Every perspective they offered cast shadows on your character. Every interpretation they provided fueled existing fears. But protection surrounds you in ways the manipulator never accounted for. Medicine flows through your bloodline. Your ancestors blocked attacks before you even knew danger was approaching. Every hex they sent in your direction bounced back to sender multiplied. Every lie they told about you became a boomerang heading straight back to the source. Every attempt to dim your light only made you shine brighter through contrast. This manipulator holds a close connection to the person who walked away from you. Family ties or deep friendship created their access and trust. They couldn't tolerate the growing feelings this person had for you, so they began eliminating the threat. Money and control motivated the campaign. Dependence needed maintenance. Influence required protection. You represented competition and the exposure of toxicity by simple comparison. You would help this person grow beyond the manipulator's reach. If this message aligned with your purpose, hype this video so fellow chosen ones can find their confirmation. They told strategic lies that were mixed with just enough truth to seem credible. They stripped context from situations. They twisted your words. They transformed your strength into weakness in their retelling. Your healing process looked like instability. Your boundaries appeared as coldness. Their skill came from years of successfully manipulating people. This manipulator had been feeding off this person's energy for a long time, using them, controlling them, keeping them in patterns that served the manipulator's needs. Your presence threatened the entire dynamic that had been established over years. You weren't interested in control. You were offering genuine partnership, real reciprocity, authentic connection. That truth and light would have exposed everything that was happening in darkness. They couldn't allow that exposure. They couldn't risk losing their position of influence. They couldn't tolerate the thought of this person waking up to how they'd been used. So they tried to eliminate the threat, or so they thought. What they actually set in motion was their own downfall, because when you attack someone who is protected by the universe, you face consequences that transcend anything happening in physical reality. Commitment issues run deep in the person who walked away from you, not because something is fundamentally wrong with them, but because healthy love was never modeled for them. Every relationship they witnessed was transactional. Every connection they experienced came with conditions. Every person they loved proved temporary. So when you showed up offering something real, something unconditional, something that required vulnerability, their entire system triggered into panic mode. Situationships have filled their entire relationship history. Connections with no labels, relationships with no commitment, encounters with no emotional investment. Safety lived there for them. Nobody can hurt you if you never fully let them in. Nobody can leave you if you never fully arrive. Nobody can reject the real you if the real you never gets shown. Performance became the only language they knew how to speak. Then you arrived refusing to play games. No performance, no interest in half-truths and surface connections. You showed up as yourself. Flaws included, wounds visible, magic undeniable. That authenticity triggered everything in them that remains unhealed. Authentic people reveal inauthentic patterns just by existing. Your presence became a mirror. What they saw reflected back created terror in them. So when lies about you started circulating, part of them wanted those lies to be true. not because evidence supported the accusations, but because believing the lies gave them permission to run from what scared them. Justification arrived that didn't require them to face their own fear. "I'm protecting myself from someone dangerous" sounded better than admitting, "I'm running from someone real because real terrifies me." Fear makes cowards of people who could be brave. Fear makes liars of people who could be honest. Fear makes runners of people who could stand and fight for something worth having. This person ran fast and far while convincing themselves the choice was right. Smart even, self-protective and wise. What they didn't realize then, but understand now, is that running from love creates the most dangerous situation possible. Love doesn't chase. Love doesn't beg. Love doesn't diminish itself to make someone comfortable. Love stands in truth and allows you to choose it or not. When you run from love, you don't create escape. You guarantee spending your life wondering what could have been if bravery had won over fear. While they stayed away, you descended into your own underworld. Down there you met every demon you'd been avoiding, every wound you'd been ignoring, every pattern you'd been repeating. Instead of running like you had done before, you sat down and faced them all. You asked what they needed. You listened to their stories. You understood their origins. Then you thanked them for trying to protect you, and you released them from service. You cried tears that cleansed generations of pain. You screamed screams that released decades of suppression. You felt feelings that had been labeled as too much, too intense, too overwhelming. Discovery came that you could hold all that emotion without breaking. Your strength exceeded what you'd been told. Your resilience surpassed what you believed. Your power existed beyond what anyone expected, including yourself. In that darkness you excavated buried parts of yourself, the part that knows without needing proof, the part that trusts despite evidence suggesting otherwise, the part that loves without requiring reciprocation. Your authentic self emerged from underneath layers of conditioning, raw and real and radiant. You set boundaries that made people uncomfortable. No became your default answer when yes didn't serve you. You walked away from situations that weren't serving you. You stopped completely explaining yourself to people who weren't trying to understand you. You ended the performance for approval. Shrinking to fit spaces that were too small for your spirit became impossible. Expansion into your fullness happened naturally. The most powerful shift transformed how you valued yourself. External validation lost its appeal to you. You stopped checking to see if they were watching your life. You ended crafting your existence for an audience that had walked away. Living for you began. You prioritized choices that felt good in your body. You followed intuition even when logic protested. You developed self-trust in ways you had never experienced before. Your entire energy frequency transformed completely. People who knew you before barely recognize you now, not because you became someone different, because you became more yourself. The masks fell away. The performance ended. The authentic you stepped forward without apology or explanation. That authenticity created a magnetic pull that attracted aligned people and repelled those who weren't ready for real connection. Your manifestation shifted into new patterns. Opportunities appeared that matched your new frequency. Money flowed more easily to you. Creative projects took shape. Connections formed that nourished rather than depleted you. Your entire reality reorganized itself around your internal transformation. Energy works this way. Internal change forces external reality to restructure around your new vibration. From a distance, someone was watching. Maybe not directly, maybe through mutual connections, maybe through the unexplainable energetic threads that connect souls across physical distance. What they witnessed shook their foundation. Their expectations of you falling apart got shattered. Their assumptions about you needing them to be whole proved false. Instead of the devastation they expected, you became more radiant in their absence than you ever were in their presence. You stepped into your power. You created beauty from pain. You transformed suffering into strength. Everything they thought would break you became fuel that made you unbreakable. That transformation cracked something open in them. Questions arose about everything they'd been told. They began wondering if they had made the biggest mistake of their life. Regret started creeping in. The lies started cracking. Their heart pulled back toward you even as their mind tried justifying staying away. Watching someone you walked away from thrive without you creates a special kind of torture. Confirmation arrives of your deepest fears. You weren't necessary. You weren't irreplaceable. You were actually the one who was limiting what could have been. They started comparing everyone they met after you. Everyone fell short. The depth of conversation you offered couldn't be found elsewhere. The ease of connection you provided couldn't be replicated anywhere. The way you made them feel seen and understood proved impossible to find again. Moving on from someone real to settle for something superficial became a torture they inflicted on themselves. The manipulator is unraveling fast. Their health deteriorates. Their relationships fall apart. Their money dries up. Their peace vanishes. Every area where they created chaos for others is now becoming chaotic for them. The lies they told come back as hauntings. The seeds they planted produce exactly the harvest they deserve. They feel it happening. They know why it's happening, but knowing doesn't stop it. Karma isn't interested in apologies. Balance is the only concern. The person who left you starts noticing inconsistencies that are impossible to ignore. The manipulator's story develops holes. Things that seemed plausible before now seem suspicious. Other people come forward with their own stories about being lied to by this same person. The mask slips. The act fails. Truth emerges whether the liar wants it to or not. Evidence gets revealed showing the accusations were fabricated. The screenshots were doctored. The situations were misrepresented completely. The witnesses the manipulator claimed existed either don't exist or they tell completely different stories when asked directly. The entire narrative was constructed from manipulation, assumption, and outright lies. Bit by bit, that construction crumbles into dust. Cognitive dissonance breaks them down. What they were told can't be reconciled with what they witness about you now. Every day that passes with this disconnect makes the lies more obvious. It makes the manipulation more clear. It makes their mistake more painful. Realization comes that they didn't just believe lies, they participated in spreading them by walking away without verification. Complicity in your character assassination came from not defending you, from not questioning, from not trusting their own experience of you. Memories return of how you actually treated them with respect, with honesty, with genuine care. They remember conversations where you were vulnerable about your past, your fears, your dreams, moments of authentic connection that couldn't have been manufactured or faked, come back into focus. How you showed up consistently, even when you didn't have to. How you honored your word. How you maintained integrity, even in small things. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something. But talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. Wrangling. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The worst realization hits them the hardest. You're probably not even thinking about them anymore. While they've been obsessing over their mistake, you've been busy building a life that doesn't include them. Their absence didn't destroy you, it freed you. That realization creates pain worse than any accusation could create. Your life flourishing becomes visible to them. Your career is advancing. Your creativity is flowing. Your energy is glowing. Your peace is evident. They know they could have been part of that. They know they should have been part of that. They know they would have been part of that if the courage to question what they were told had existed, if their intuition had been trusted over someone else's agenda, if the bravery to investigate rather than just believe and retreat had been present. The manipulator panics as they watch their lies fall apart, seeing the person they manipulated start questioning everything, seeing karma catching up with them. Instead of coming clean, they double down. They create more elaborate lies. They manufacture more false evidence. Their desperation grows and therefore becomes more obvious. That desperation is finally making everything crystal clear to everyone watching. Beyond physical reality, a spiritual battle raged for this connection, not because you're special in elitist ways, but because when two people come together who are meant to catalyze each other's growth, it attracts opposition. Stagnation serves darkness. Growth threatens it. Your connection represented massive growth potential for both of you. The attack came through the weakest link available, the manipulator. Someone with just enough spiritual knowledge to be dangerous, someone with access and influence, someone willing to sacrifice their personal karma for temporary control. They worked in the shadows. They planted seeds in fertile soil. They timed their lies perfectly. They exploited vulnerabilities expertly. This was spiritual warfare disguised as concerned advice. They burned candles with specific intentions against you, binding work to keep someone from moving toward you, confusion spells to cloud judgment, separation rituals to create distance between you. They did everything possible to interfere with what was naturally unfolding. For a moment, their success seemed real. The person left, the connection severed. They celebrated their victory, but divine timing doesn't get permanently blocked by human interference. Delay is possible. Increased difficulty happens. Pain gets caused in the process, but permanent prevention of two souls fulfilling their contract isn't possible if that's why they came here. All that's possible is racking up spiritual debt that gets collected with interest. Your ancestors intervened before you even knew intervention was needed. Every candle they lit against you got countered by spiritual forces you didn't even ask for help. Every lie they told about you got recorded in books that are kept by powers beyond human understanding. Every tear you cried got collected and transformed into fuel for your next level. Nothing was wasted. Nothing happened in vain. Everything prepared you for this exact moment. Warrior energy flows through your bloodline. People who fought battles that never made it into history books. People who survived what should have destroyed them. People who transformed trauma into medicine and then used that medicine to heal others. That strength is coded in your DNA. It activates when you need it most. It activated when this person walked away based on lies. While you were crying and questioning, your ancestors worked overtime. They blocked additional attacks. They cleared pathways for your healing. They brought the right people into your life at the perfect timing. They opened doors that aligned with your highest good. They closed doors that would have led you astray. Every step of your healing journey received guidance and protection that was invisible to your physical eyes. Dreams that this person can't explain keep coming to them. They wake up with tears, and they don't understand why. They feel pulled toward you in ways that defy logic. Their ancestors are waking them up now, not to punish them, but to redirect them, because their healing path runs through acknowledging what they did and attempting to make it right. Not for you, for themselves, for their own spiritual evolution. This situation exceeds romance. It exceeds friendship. It exceeds any label that's available to describe it. Two souls have work to do. lessons to learn, growth to experience. That work got interrupted by interference that seemed successful, but was actually redirecting both of you to exactly where you needed to be before coming back together. If coming back together is even part of the divine plan, the spiritual battle continues even now. When they make contact with you, pressure from the manipulator to not respond will increase. Fear will whisper suggestions that you'll get hurt again. Doubt will rise, questioning whether anything has really changed. All of this represents the final attempts to keep you separated, to prevent the reconnection that could expose everything the manipulator did, to maintain the status quo that serves darkness rather than light. But you have free will, you have choice, you have the power to decide what serves your highest good, regardless of what anyone else wants or expects from you. Your ancestors will support whatever decision comes from your truth, rather than your trauma, as long as it honors your growth without abandoning the lessons you've learned, as long as it protects your peace while remaining open to possibility. Right now, this person is physically sick, not with a virus, not with a disease, but with the toxicity of guilt and regret and realization. Their stomach stays in knots. They can't eat properly. Sleep comes to them incompletely. They wake up in the middle of the night with your face in their mind and truth in their heart, and no idea how to fix what they broke. A purge is happening within them. Everything that's inauthentic is getting pushed out. Everything that's misaligned with truth is getting rejected by their system. They're being forced to face themselves in ways they've never experienced before. That process is brutal. When you've been lying to yourself for years, when you've been hiding behind fear for decades, when you've been performing instead of being authentic, the moment of reckoning devastates. Their appetite has vanished. Food tastes like nothing to them. Nothing satisfies. How can the body get nourished when the soul is starving for truth? How can sustenance come from physical food when what you're really hungry for is authenticity, connection, and the chance to make right what you made wrong? Sleep brings them no rest. Every dream features you. Sometimes you're there, and everything is okay between you. Those dreams hurt the worst because waking up means facing reality again. Sometimes you're there, but you're unreachable to them. They're trying to get to you, but they can't close the distance. Those dreams mirror their current reality. Sometimes you're there, confronting them with the truth about what they did. Those dreams are the most honest. They're in therapy now. Real therapy. Not the kind where you show up and complain about other people. The kind where you have to look at your own patterns, your own wounds, your own responsibility in how your life turned out. In every session, you come up as a topic, because you connect to every fear they carry, every wound they hold, every pattern they repeat. Not because you caused any of it, but because you triggered all of it just by being authentic with them. They're learning about attachment styles, and they're realizing they have avoidant patterns. Their entire relationship history shows a pattern of getting close to someone and then running when intimacy becomes real. They're discovering childhood wounds they didn't know were still actively affecting their present. Parental rejection, abandonment, being taught that vulnerability equals weakness, being punished for having needs. All of it created someone who can't handle genuine connection, even while desperately wanting it. They're realizing they've never had a real relationship in their life, only transactions, arrangements, situationships where nobody asked for too much, and nobody gave too much, and everyone stayed safe and bored and unfulfilled. They spent their entire life in the shallow end because they were afraid of drowning in deep water. But the shallow end isn't where life happens. It's where you stand still watching other people swim. You represented the deep water to them, the place where their feet couldn't touch the bottom, where trust in themselves to stay afloat becomes necessary, where vulnerability and exposure and being fully alive all exist simultaneously. That terrified them, so they ran back to the shallow end, where standing was possible, where control existed over everything, where safety felt guaranteed. But the shallow end is boring to them now, and lonely and unfulfilling. Realization is coming to them that safety isn't the same as happiness, control isn't the same as peace, performing isn't the same as connecting. They traded something real for something comfortable, and comfortable is killing them slowly. They've written messages to you countless times. They've deleted almost as many times as they've written. The one-time deletion didn't happen. They spent hours staring at it before closing the app without sending. What do you say to someone you wronged based on lies you believed? How do you apologize for letting other people's voices be louder than your own intuition? How do you explain being too weak to stand up for what your heart knew was true? The first contact will probably seem casual. They'll be testing the waters with something that appears innocent. A question about something random, a comment on something you posted online, a "hey, how have you been?" that pretends the history between you doesn't exist. This is their fear masking itself as casual interest. They're trying to gauge if you'll respond at all. They're determining if an opening exists. They're assessing whether you've completely moved on or if a chance still exists for them. Don't be fooled by their casual approach. This is strategy that was born from terror of rejection. They're not actually interested in small talk with you. They're trying to see if you'll respond at all. They're determining if any opening exists for them. They're assessing whether complete moving on has happened for you, or if chances still exist for saying what they really need to say. Lies were told to them about you, about your character, about your intentions toward them. Things got said that made them question everything they thought they knew about you. Instead of coming directly to you with their questions, instead of trusting their own experience of you, instead of being brave enough to investigate the claims, they just believed the lies and walked away. That cowardice has been eating them alive ever since. They want you to know that thoughts of you happen to them constantly. Every song creates reminders of you. Sunsets hold your image. Silence carries your voice to them. Their soul never stopped reaching for yours even when their fear was trying to maintain distance. The connection you shared wasn't their imagination. It was real. It is real. They can't keep pretending otherwise anymore. Watch carefully for signs of real accountability versus blame shifting from them. Real accountability sounds like, "I should have trusted my own experience of you instead of believing someone else's lies about you." Fake accountability sounds like, "Someone lied to me about you and that's why I left." The first statement owns their choice to believe without verifying. The second statement makes them out to be a victim of someone else's manipulation. Pay close attention to whether they've done actual work on themselves or if they've just had realizations about you. A massive difference exists between them saying, "Therapy has been helping me work on my avoidant attachment and my fear of intimacy," versus, "I realize now that you weren't what I was told you were." The first statement shows genuine transformation is happening. The second statement shows they just gathered new information about you, but they haven't actually changed themselves. Watch whether they're trying to rush the process or if they're respecting your pace. Someone who is genuinely changed understands that trust gets rebuilt through consistent action over time. Someone who is just uncomfortable wants quick forgiveness so they can feel better about themselves. The first person is patient with your healing process. The second person is impatient with their own guilt. Underneath everything they want to say, 3 words are trying to get spoken. The 3 words that should have been said before all of this happened. The 3 words that got stuck in their throat behind fear and lies and self-protection. The 3 words that might be too late now, but need speaking anyway. Some combination of words capturing the desperate hope that you might give them another chance they don't deserve, but desperately need from you. They're constantly rehearsing this conversation in their mind, playing out every possible scenario, imagining your response to them, preparing themselves for rejection while hoping for acceptance. They know they hurt you. They know they don't deserve another chance from you. They know you would be completely justified in telling them to never contact you again, but they're hoping anyway, hoping you'll hear them out, hoping you'll see that they've changed, hoping you'll give them the opportunity to prove they can show up differently now. The message is coming to you. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe in a moment of weakness at 3 a.m. when their defenses finally break completely. When it comes to you, feelings will arise in you. Old feelings will surface. Familiar pain will rise up. Your heart will remember what your mind has been trying to forget. In that moment, everything you've learned will be tested. Everything you've healed will be challenged. Everything you've become will need to show up and guide your response. Remember this clearly. You owe them nothing. Not a response. Not forgiveness. Not another chance. Not even an explanation if you choose to ignore them completely. Their decision to reach out doesn't obligate you to engage with them. Their guilt doesn't require your absolution. Their regret doesn't demand your participation in their healing process. Regardless of what you choose, you're going to be fine, better than fine. Thriving is guaranteed in your future, because you've already proven that you can build a magnificent life without them in it. You've already demonstrated your ability to transform pain into power. You've already shown that you don't need anyone's participation to fulfill your destiny. Everything that happens from here forward is just additional confirmation of what you already know deep in your soul. You're chosen, you're protected, you're powerful, you're ready for whatever comes next in your journey. The song that started playing at the beginning of this message, the one about someone being on someone's mind, about feelings that can't be denied anymore, about realizing what you had only after it's gone, that song is playing for them right now. It's the soundtrack to their regret. But you're dancing to different music now. A victory song, a liberation song, a celebration of who you've become despite and because of everything you've experienced. Today is the day, not the day they get to decide your worth. You already decided that for yourself. Not the day they get to determine your future. You're authoring that yourself. But this is the day they finally face the truth about what they lost and what you became in their absence. Chosen one. When that moment arrives, stand tall in your power. You've earned the right to be selective about who gets access to the beautiful life you built from the ashes of what they burned down. 3 swords came out of their heart. 3 wounds healed in yours. 3 levels got transcended by you. Now 3 choices stand before you. You can open the door to them, you can keep it closed, or you can crack it slightly and see what's actually on the other side. Whatever you choose, choose it from your highest self, from your healed self, from your powerful self, because that version of you knows exactly what to do in this moment. The contact is coming to you soon. The message is brewing in their mind and heart. The reckoning is here, and you're ready for it. Not because you've been waiting for this moment to arrive, but because every moment since they left has been preparing you for exactly this. You've been training in the spiritual gym. You've been leveling up in the growth chamber. You've been transforming in the fire of experience. Now you emerge from all of that, not as who they knew before, but as who you were always meant to become. Welcome to your power, chosen one. It looks absolutely magnificent on you.